On today's Domain Sherpa discussion, again with the meaningless.com topic, really? An update on Adam's new versus old TLD test. Which TLDs launching this week are best for speculation? Nominations are due this Friday for Traffic Awards. Why Adam loves Uniregistry's new domain tracker and why you might too. The .Realtors promotion and World Domain Day's upcoming auction. All on today's Domain Sherpa discussion. Stay tuned. I have 3 sponsor messages before we get into today's show. First, if you have a great domain name and nothing to show when people visit, you're missing out on potential advertising revenue, leads, and partnership opportunities. NicheWebsites.com can build you a site quickly with a price option to suit any need. But as their tagline says, they don't just build websites, they build businesses. NicheWebsites.com. Second, if you're buying or selling a domain name or portfolio and you want an estimate of its value, Estabot.com is the place to go. Just like you'd visit Zillow.com to get an estimate of a house value, Estabot.com provides key information about the most important statistics so you can make an informed decision based on data. Finally, whether you're buying, selling, brokering, or financing a domain name, you need an escrow company that's properly licensed, bonded, insured, and audited. That company is escrow.com, and they've been doing it since 1999. Escrow.com. It's about trust. Hey everyone, my name is Michael Cyger. I'm the publisher of DomainSherpa.com, and this is the Domain Sherpa Discussion. This is the show that keeps you updated on the goings-on in the domain name industry. We look at news, trends, and every once in a while, we rant about certain topics that push our buttons. We're joined by 4 Domain Sherpas this week. From left to right, we have Adam Dicker, CEO of DNForum.com and NicheWebsites.com, the company that will help you build, rank, and update your business website. Michael Berkens, publisher of TheDomains.com, co-founder of the Right of the Doc Consultancy, and founder of the domain marketplace MostWantedDomains.com. Paige Howe, founder of the domain marketplace DomainOutlet.com and the service DomainTipSheet.com, where you can find hand-selected domain names at reg fee pricing. And Rick Schwartz, the Domain King, publisher of Rick's blog and co-founder of the Traffic Domain Industry Conference taking place at the end of October this year. Go buy your tickets. Gentlemen, welcome to this week's show.
Thank you, Michael.
Hello.
Thank you. I'll be ready after I clear this plane for the runway.
And we appreciate you doing that, Adam. We were getting some reverb just like we did last week, and we think we narrowed it down to Adam. So I'm going to have to send you, Adam, some sleeker headphones that maybe are like an iPhone type, even though I know you don't have an iPhone. And I know not all of the Sherpas have received them yet, but that's what I'm talking about, Paige Howe.
Oh.
If you haven't received your exclusive Domain Sherpa mug, there we go, Rick.
Nice.
All right. So on the front, so designer colored on the front.
What is this? Picking on the international guy or what?
Domain Sherpa, and on the back, I'm a
Sherpa
my God, leading others to reach their peak. How about that, baby? So yes, you're international, Adam. It takes a couple extra days to get up there. It's on the way. Also,
what a
Mike
nice
is
treat.
on vacation, I had to ship it through like 5 different customs services in order to get to him. But it's a great. I love the look of it. I want to thank my father and mother-in-law, Frank and Joanne, for helping to come up with the mug tagline and the design input. And if you're a past Sherpa, so you've been on the show for one of the shows over the past 3 years or so, your Sherpa will soon be in the mail and Sherpa's going forward. So basically, you have to be a Sherpa, which means you have to come on the show and share your expertise and advice with others in order to earn a mug. It's probably going to take me a while to go back in time. So if you're a Sherpa and you're watching the show and you're saying, hey, Mike, set me up, shoot me an email to michael@DomainSherpa.com and I will put your mug in the mail ASAP to you.
Does that mean that those of us that are regulars get like a case of mugs?
I'm mailing you like 24 of these things. You're going to have more Sherpa mugs than you know what to do with.
Gator colors, so congrats on that.
Yeah. And you guys get a little extra special something in there that the regular Sherpas aren't going to get. So enjoy that. All right, next up, what was that, Mike? I can't tell you what it is because you haven't got yours yet, Mike. Next up, last week, Palm Beach asked a question about new versus old TLDs as they related to search engine organic rankings. So, for example, would wine.club or wineclub.com rank higher in search engines, all other factors being the same besides the domain name? Adam Dicker said he'd pick 2 domain names and run an SEO test himself. Adam, do you have any news to report on the test yet?
Yeah, I mean, I was ill for 3 days because of a stomach virus, so I'm a little behind on the test. We'll have the results to post next Wednesday. So far, it looks like a dead heat, but we'll see how it turns out.
Oh, all right. Interesting. Well, one of them has to rank over the other, so I want to actually, next week, hopefully you'll have the results, and then we'll be able to find the search phrase, type it into Google and Bing, and see which one actually ranks higher or lower.
Yeah, and if you can share your screen on this thing, then you can actually show them exactly what it is.
I will look into that. I don't want to mess things up. It's hard enough to get 5 of us on a show all looking good and sounding good, but we'll give it a shot. All right, next up, last week, Mason Cole of Donuts.co wrote a blog entitled, quote, "The Importance of Semantics and Affinity and the Meaninglessness of .com." This week, another new TLD registry is trying to knock .com off the top of the mountain. Adrian Kinderis of ARI Registry Services wrote a blog entitled, quote, "Is Racing.com a $500,000 mistake for Racing Victoria?" End quote. So I think it's a valid question in my opinion. You have a state in the southeast of Australia called Victoria. For anybody that doesn't know, in the state is an organization called Racing Victoria, whose vision is to enhance the Victorian thoroughbred racing industry's position as a leading world-class sporting industry delivering integrity, quality, and entertainment. Their domain name is racingvictoria.net.au. So the total revenue of Racing Victoria, as I found on their website in their 2013 report, is about $311 million, and then in the fiscal year ending June 2013, their profit was $19 million. So it's an association whose sole purpose is to further thoroughbred horse racing, primarily based in Victoria, but with a worldwide aspiration, and they made $19 million profit last year. They recently purchased Racing.com for a rumored amount. I don't think anybody has a confirmed amount, do they? Anybody heard a confirmed amount? No, I heard it's about $500,000 in the rumor mill. So let's just call it 6 figures. And I want to take his discussion in the blog point by point because I think he's got some valid points and then I'm not sure if other points are valid. So point number 1, Adrian thinks the theme of horse racing in Victoria would be the strongest key message and that most Australians would probably remember horseracing.com or horseracing.com.au before racing.com. Does any one of the Sherpa panel disagree with that point?
Well, a little bit, because there's a little bit of an information he didn't ask. If horseracing.com is a $5 million domain, for instance, or maybe it's priceless because they don't want to sell it, then you have to add that part of the equation to how they're looking at something.
Very good point.
In a perfect world, listen, in a perfect world, yeah, maybe it's a little bit better in a perfect world. But we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a world with different circumstances, and you weigh your circumstances. And, you know, so he kind of, he does a lot of half equations and goes off the reservation, you know.
Okay, so you would say, so if I could paraphrase, you would agree with an asterisk saying, in a perfect world, but the world is not perfect and there are other conditions and he doesn't know the other conditions just like we don't.
Well, no, there's something else too, okay? If he does go for horse racing, okay, you mentioned the word a minute ago, worldwide aspirations. Well, that's it in a nutshell. If you have worldwide aspirations, you have to have a .com in this lifetime. For the people that are living now in the next 20, 30, 40 years, if you have worldwide aspirations. If, on the other hand, you only want to deal with people in Victoria, Australia, that live on Main Street in apartment 101, then you should target that. But if you have worldwide aspiration, that is the key word. And I wrote it down when you said it, because that's the key, and that's the key that they all miss. They all have an agenda that they need to promote because they need to sell the stuff that people aren't buying and swallowing right now. And when you have worldwide aspirations, bam, they run right into a brick wall, and that's a problem.
So what I read was off the Racing Victoria website, their vision is to enhance the Victorian thoroughbred racing industry's position as a leading world-class sporting industry. So it's world-class sporting industry and Victorian thoroughbred racing. I'm not sure I said worldwide.
Well, okay, yeah, when I wrote it down when you said it, worldwide aspirations, but I don't know if that was... I may have
misstated it. So it's world-class sporting industry delivering integrity, quality, and entertainment.
Okay.
So let's assume that they are just focused on Victoria. Is horseracing.com or horseracing.com.au better than racing.com?
Probably not. Listen, it still depends on the consumer. Again, everyone always stops and forgets to consider the consumer. And unless they take 100 people or 1,000 people and ask them the question and then have them go to the browser and type it in, they're not going to get the answer. Okay? That's the bottom line. They're never going to get the answer unless they're willing to do that. And few of them are willing to do that. They're not even willing to ask the question, let alone do it.
All right.
I mean, Michael, I wrote, actually, I wrote about the sale, I guess first in the domain channel. So the story was originally reported by the Australian Financial Review, which, by the way, uses a .com address. They don't use an Australian address. So their address is afr.com, Australian Financial Review. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the original story, you can see that a lot of this, I'm not, Adrian's a really smart guy. I think it's a little broader. This is not just going to be a business known as, Victoria, Racing Victoria. There's other companies involved for other racing clubs, including Melbourne Racing, Maroon Valley Racing Club, and Country Racing Victoria. So there's it seems like four other companies or divisions, all called racing. Some of them are called horse racing.
Right.
So I think that's important to know. And of course, the other thing is that I've only been to Australia for a few weeks in my life, so I'm not Australian, obviously. And so I don't know, what none of us are. I guess, Adam is the closest. So,
good day, mate.
Yes, I don't know sort of what the language, I don't know what the preferred sort of nomenclature, for the term is. Here in the United States, probably if I was in a horse, if I had a horse racing business, exclusively, and we're either taking bets or we're breeding horses or we're just involved in that. For me personally, I may think horse racing might be better, again, if it was available in a perfect world, but maybe in Australia, it's not so.
Okay. Maybe. And that brings me to my second point, Mike. Adrian's research shows that Australians have been conditioned to visit websites ending in .au when looking for local content. .au, of course, is Australia's CCTLD. I personally fully agree with Adrian's point of view that geographic organizations like Horse Racing in Victoria, Australia, might do better with a TLD that is widely known and used in the geography. So I think you're making the point that, if the nomenclature for horse racing is horse racing, then that's a benefit. And if Australians themselves identify more with a .com.au or some sort of .au, then that's a benefit. I don't have the data. Adrian seems to have some sort of research that indicates that. Does anybody disagree with either of those statements? Paige?
I disagree strongly. I think an online property should go buy the best domain they can get for their budget. And if these guys had $500,000 to spend and they could get racing.com, one of the world's best domain names for what they're in, and you can bet that the people that show up to horse race in Victoria are coming from Hong Kong, Abu Dhabi, Near East, near and far, spending this money to invest, that your market is worldwide. So maybe this individual use of the domain name racing.com, this was their budget, $500,000. Now another company like Kentucky Derby.com or whatever, they could have spent $5 million for racing.com, and we're trying to convince them, if you're the owner, to buy it for $500,000. So these people might have stretched versus what they could have got. But if you can get the most amount of name for your money, and all it does is make you better, then you're a fool not to do it. So for him to sit there and say, oh, they could have got away with less, they could have got away with less, they did this. It's real. They did it because they saw value. And if you look at the website, it says we want to make it the premier destination, the best place to do it, the most awesome experience. So why not be racing.com? Even against horseracing.com, it's shorter. And you say, yeah, but, it should incorporate a bunch of other stuff. It's the best name they could buy for their money, and I think they got a heck of a deal. If they decide in 5 years to do something else, I think they've got, an asset that's worth way more than that. So the way they built the geographic domain name system is if you're using it in your country, great, and then we have these global TLDs. All business is global now, so why not go and get the global thing? So I disagree that they should have got less, set their sites lower, and all that stuff.
Well, and it's interesting to note that in the same breath that he says, quote, people have been conditioned to use .au, end quote, he later says the quote, the title header, .com.gone, even though .com is what a majority of people in the world have been conditioned to use over the past 20 years. So, again, I think you bring up some good points. I think that Adrian has some good points, but I don't think the logic necessarily works throughout the whole article. Adam, were you about to say something?
He's fitting into the logic. That's what it is. That's why he keeps going off the rails. He has an agenda, and then there's logic. They don't really meet, so he has to kind of force them together. And as far as country code domain names versus .com domain names, every single country that I've ever been in my life has both. Okay? Everyone, a lot of them use mostly country codes, but there's plenty of .coms also on billboards and magazines of the same countries. And, it's just a false argument. The whole thing is a false argument.
Yeah, well, I'm going to ask you one more question about that, Rick. But Adam, what you were saying something?
Yeah, a couple things. There's no question about it that racing is a good brandable domain name, and they can make this work, and they can use the investment wisely. But it is also well known that country codes are popular in countries, but they're usually still a second choice. But that said, the value also of a country code compared to a .com is about 10 to 15%. So it's a lot less on country codes. But that doesn't mean that they can't have a successful country code, which is on a net.au. I think they've also set themselves up so they almost have to buy racing.net.au now to build off of that if they're going to build the racing brand. Sure, they can go with the .com, but whoever's sitting on racing.net.au is probably in a good position right now. And I think instead of, they spent $500,000 on their domain name, I hope they've got at least $100,000 to redo that website because it looks like crap.
Well, and I don't know exactly how the Australians prefer their domain names, but according to Adrian, this is the third point that I wanted to make, his experience tells him that an ad for racing.com in Australia will leak a lot of traffic to racing.com.au, which is owned by a betting company called Tabcorp. So if the predominant domain name in marketing and advertising is .com.au, will the .com leak to the .com.au? What do you guys think?
Probably, but that racing.com.au just went up in value just because they're going to brand racing.com in AU.
Who is shaking their head no?
But Michael, if they leak a small amount of traffic down to the .com.au and gain the worldwide best domain in every jurisdiction in the rest of the world in terms of traffic, would you rather have the rest of the world's type in and natural search traffic and lose a little bit where you are? I just...
Excellent point. Yeah.
I mean, if they settled... Yeah, the other thing I just want to bring up is it could be likely that, one, if that's who owns racing.com.au, they could be making $1 million a year, so they were never going to sell it. And whoever owned racing.net.au, they may have asked $150,000 for it, thinking, oh, these guys got to buy it, they got to buy it, they got to buy it. And they found out, wait, we can get the .com for $500,000 versus getting the second choice. So I think price comes into it. I don't think this was maybe a situation where they said go buy racing.com no matter how much it costs, and if it's $2 million, go do it. But I think the fact that the price got down to a number that they could easily amortize off the gross revenues of their racing thing has got to be in the tens of millions of dollars. We're still talking about small portions of what these companies are generating. We just haven't. It's not like we're maxing out. It's not like Rick and Mike Berkens and Adam are selling these names for $11 million and $17 million and $19 million, and oh my gosh, we're really extracting every last dollar. I just think we have a long way to go still. So it was within their reach, and they went for it.
Mm-hmm. I think that no matter how you look at this, it's a good buy. I mean, it's a good buy for them, even at $500K, no matter what happens. It's a great premium name.
Yeah, that can be resold and continues to have value. Mike Berkens.
I mean, I think that the real story, as far as Adrian's post goes, is two things. One thing is what his suggested other domains that are. So we're sort of arguing, well, not arguing, but we're just debating whether or not they would have been better off buying horseracing.com or racing, .au. But that's really not his suggestion. His suggestion is that they go out and instead of buying, racing.com, that they would have bought a .racing new GTLD. And he also makes a comment in his post that should really, be upsetting to all of us. Which is basically that anybody who's $1 million to buy a .com domain name is crazy.
Yeah, so let me summarize that for you, and you're breaking up a little bit, Mike, but basically you're saying that the point of the whole post was not those 3 points that we just discussed, although I did want to bring them up because I wanted to hear your individual discussions on it, because, at one point I thought maybe I do agree with Adrian, but in listening to you, there's clearly a different point. But Adrian sums up his article, just like you say, Mike, saying, like Mason Cole, quote, unlike the meaningless and unintuitive.com, new domain names allow for a clear and descriptive signpost. Take, for instance, .racing, set to launch soon, offers a more creative and relevant domain name such as horses.racing, victorian.racing, or vickhorses.racing. There's also a .horse top-level domain. The fact is, the launch and use of these new top-level domains will soon make the purchase of $500,000 .com domain names look silly, end quote. Exactly to your point, Mike. So, feedback from the Sherpas. Does anybody agree with him?
Yeah, he's the only one that looks silly. I mean, at the end of the day, the statement is silly. The statement on the face of it is silly and self-serving.
He works for the registry. What else is he going to say?
But, if he would have come up with some examples that would have made me think, oh, that is a better domain name, I would rather spend $1,000 a year registering that domain name than spend $500,000 one time for racing.com. But he provides horses.racing, victorian.racing, vickhorses.racing, and then throws out the .horse top-level domain. Like, what are you going to do, racing.horse? To me, as primarily an end user, none of those are as good a descriptive or brand for what Racing Victoria is trying to do.
I think we're giving these guys too much airtime for all their negative articles about .com, and I think that's their benefit. I think we're wasting our time.
Thank you. They're all self-serving. Look, he had no comments on his blog. The other guy, Mason Cole, had no comments because he couldn't handle the barrage of crap that would come at him for the crap that he was spewing. And we're wasting all this time giving these guys credibility where they have no credibility whatsoever at this point.
Well, I take a different viewpoint. I don't look at us giving them credibility. I look at us bringing to light the statements that people are making. And when people make statements in print, whether it's online or in print, they tend to convince people of certain arguments. Now, you may
But
look
those
at
are
it and say,
sales
I don't
pieces.
agree with it, but I think other people may look at it because it's on the domaining.com feed
No,
and say,
they're sales pieces, though. They're sales pieces. They're not blogs. They're sales pieces. They're meant to sell their product. It has no value. Why don't we discuss Ron Popeil and infomercials, because he at least has value. Ron Popeil we can learn something from because he has value. These clowns we can't learn a thing from.
healing videos aren't in the domain name industry. All right. Any final parting thoughts before we move on topics?
Yeah, no more of these stupid articles.
And let me, listen, it's funny that we discussed the leak from .com to the .au, which, let me tell you something. If that's a leak, that's a 5, 10, or 15% leak, and people can survive a 5, 10, or 15% leak. On the other hand, if they start leaking 50, 60, 70, 80%, I got news for you. No startup or no business in the world can survive a leak like that.
All right. Quick break from 3 sponsors of today's show. First, are you tired of being upsold and cross-sold when you buy or renew a domain? Then try the newest registrar being built from the ground up with a beautiful interface, competitive pricing, and 24/7 support. Uniregistry.com will surprise and delight you. The right domain can change your life. Uniregistry.com. Second, investing in Chinese domains is crazy hard without expert native language advice. Now, as a service to the Western domainer community, TLD Registry offers ChineseLandRush.com. Using ChineseLandRush.com will help you invest in Chinese domains with confidence and without knowing a word of Chinese. Finally, MediaOptions is a boutique domain brokerage firm that gets results. They've specialized in helping companies acquire and sell high-value domain names since 2005, with a client list ranging from funded startups to Fortune 500 corporations. Visit MediaOptions.com to learn more. Next up, I received a notification from Facebook.com just before the show taped. It appears that one of the Sherpas on the panel has taken the Ice Bucket Challenge. Adam Dicker, for anybody that doesn't know, Adam Dicker was the Ice Bucket recipient. And anybody that hasn't been on the internet recently should know that Oprah Winfrey and Justin Bieber, as well as hundreds of other celebrities, have gone on camera to pour freezing water over their heads to raise awareness for ALS, motor neuron disease called amyotrophic lateral sclerosis that affects the nerve cells in the brain and the spinal cord. Basically, in the U.S., it's known as Lou Gehrig disease. I don't know if it's known other places as Lou Gehrig's
Yeah, it's the same
disease.
here. Same here.
So, in the process of dousing yourself with freezing cold water, Adam, you also nominated some friends to do the challenge as well. I have the names of Rick Schwartz, Michael Berkens, Paige Howe, Drew Rosener, Frank Schilling, Michael Gilmore, and Troy Rushton on the list. So what is it that they're supposed to do now?
So Frank has already accepted the challenge. Basically, what they have to do is, in the name of ALS, they have 24 hours to have a bucket of ice water poured over their head and also hopefully donate to ALS. It's up to them. We'll see if my fellow Sherpas are yellow or if they're good. I believe they'll all do it. A few people have offered to pour it over Rick's head already, mainly Mr. Berkens. Luckily, they're miles and miles away.
I think it should be to the highest bidder, number one, and then we should donate it. That's it.
That's a good idea. So whoever donates the most gets to dump it on your head.
At the traffic conference.
Oh, yeah, that could be good. Hey, does this ALS challenge ever end, or does it just keep going on until it sort of dies out? I don't get it.
No, until you.
I've seen some pretty good ones.
Yeah.
Until you defeat the disease, it goes on and just keep mushrooming.
All right.
Yeah, it's trending number 3 on Twitter.
All right. I'm gonna link to Adam's video on Facebook below this video because it's open to the general public. I don't think you need.
And since you're doing that, if you haven't added me yet on Facebook, feel free.
All right, add Adam on Facebook. All right.
If they want to.
Hey, Mike Berkens, we chatted about you going jet skiing today before the show. Jet skiing does not count as the Ice Bucket Challenge.
I was carrying a bucket.
That was the P in, though.
All right. Next up, we're going to talk about new dots this week. They include .house, .cash, .tax, .fund, .investment, .bio. A reader wrote in last week and said that his girlfriend laughed at my pronunciation of the German TLDs that were on last week. I think I nailed it with the .house this week. So, Mike, anything investors should know about the pricing of these TLDs?
Well, I mean, dot investments is pricey. It's it's over $100 for a normal registration. Of course, there's also, as always, premium domains that are have a carry premium registration and renewal price. But just for a typical registration, I think GoDaddy was $129.99 for a dot investment. Dot investments.
That's a hell of a dot investment.
Yeah. $129 a year.
Yeah, it's
I guess are they targeting like investment firms of some sort that could easily pay that?
Well, I don't know if they're targeting anybody because I don't really haven't seen really much marketing. They're still just out there and seeing who comes by. So I did publish a few days ago some of the the Sunrise.investments domains and EAP. So there are some investment companies participating. Mm-hmm. I don't know, not a humongous percentage, I would assume, but I guess they feel like because it's financial, and I think there's a dot financial coming too, that people will pay more for it. So like a dot luxury or a dot rich, it's certainly So I don't well, how is it going to affect registrations ultimately or immediately is the question. I mean, I think it's going to do okay. I think it's going to be on par with the last couple of months of rollouts. I mean, I don't think it's, I think it's probably going to do somewhere 500 to 1,000 registrations. I mean, I don't think it's not going to be horrible. I don't think.
So has anybody I think .bio comes out tomorrow, but of the remainder, tomorrow being the day of this video, but of the remainder, .house, .cash, .tax, .fund, and .investments, has anybody registered any of these in their own personal investment portfolio or their business investment portfolio?
I had a .tax in my cart, and then even at my reseller price, it came through at $36, and I just kind of let it sit there and wasn't really happy to go forward with it. And some other ones were premium, and I don't feel like I'm missing anything if I don't. And maybe some I'll do.
I like Fund. I thought Fund was a pretty good extension.
Yeah.
So
did you buy any, Mike? I'm going to come to you next, Adam. Mike, did you buy any .funds?
I do have a few of them. Yeah, I do.
What kind of domains did you buy?
I bought Bitcoin Fund and Coin Fund, and I bought Mutual Fund. I'm sorry. Looking. Sorry. I have Weed Fund, and
I didn't catch that, Mike. You were breaking up. Just what was the one? Fund
Lead Fund. Lead Fund.
Lead Fund.
But you didn't get Mutual Fund.
No.
Okay.
I got Mutual Fund. No, I did not. That's reserved. That's reserved.
Right. All right. So you only got 3?
No, I have a few more. Yeah, I mean, I have I have Marijuana Fund as well. And
Marijuana dot fund.
Yeah, I have Stock Fund. I thought Stock Fund, and
there is a dot there.
There's a dot. There's that. Absolutely. No Load Fund, and I think 401k dot fund.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I've got a few of those. I like Fund though. I think
a few. But none of the other ones. .cash, .tax.
I did get a couple of .taxes as well. I'll tell you in a second. I got gift.tax and estate.tax. And income, I got federal income.tax and state income.tax.
And did you pay general availability pricing, or did you go in on one of the earlier stages for those?
I went on B5.
I'm sorry, say that one more time, Mike? You're frozen.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm into traveling. It's not a good
You said
connection.
you went
I
on
went
day
on day 5.
Oh, day
Yeah,
5. Gotcha.
Right.
So, I asked because I think a lot of users like to learn from those of the Sherpas that are buying TLDs earlier so that they can see, okay, Mike thinks that Bitcoins is a strong area and he sees the association with a fund maybe and wants to reserve those a little bit earlier. So thanks for sharing those, Mike. Adam, sorry to cut you off. You were going to say something about .fund or TLDs?
Well, I do like .fund and I do like .tax. But the other point that I wanted to make is I recently went looking today and yesterday to buy some of the new GTLDs from people that beat me on them. And all the ones that I found didn't make an offer or anything like that. So if you've got these names out there, people, put the make offer button if you actually want to sell them and make money.
Yeah.
If you want to hold on to them, then just leave them the way they are. But none of them, I looked for 6 and none of them had make offers. So I may look them up later, but for now I got bored and moved on.
Yeah, I felt sort of the same way and same way as Paige. Yesterday I thought about registering cancer.fund as sort of a one place where people could go and you maybe find out different cancer funds, or I don't know. We're supporting the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center here on Domain Sherpa, and people make contributions to be on the Domain Sherpa Review, and people tip us for the time that you guys spend doing it. Providing advice. And so I thought, maybe I'll do that. And yesterday, I thought about paying $140 for it. And I'm like, well, I'll just wait till today. And at 9 a.m., I tried to register it and somebody else grabbed it before me for $40. So I sort of feel like, well, it is what it is. I'll just link off to Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research website, and it's probably a better place anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing to panic about, but these people and everybody needs to not price them, but at least put links if you actually wish to sell them.
Yeah.
So those of you complaining your sales are down, that's why.
So of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 TLDs, .house, .cash, .tax, .fund, .investments, and .bio, what's the best TLD for speculation buying?
They're going to disagree with me, but I'm going to go with .house.
.house. All right. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I mean, I'm going to go with fund. I mean, house, it might be, but I don't speak German. I hardly speak English, so that's not for me. And, so I like fund. I think fund is probably.
What are you saying?
Paige, which one do you think is the best TLD for speculation buying?
Out of those 6, I'll go with War Games. The only way to win is not to play.
You are refusing to answer the question.
I'll go with .cash.
.cash. All right.
Really?
Hey, Rick,
Like
you had
trading
to
in
select
stuff, getting cash for stuff, trading it in. I don't know. Just
fast.cash. Rick, if you had to select one of these top-level domains, only one, which one would you pick? .house, .cash, .tax, .fund, .investments, or .bio?
Pepto-Bismol, please. Have some Pepto-Bismol, really? I don't know. I mean, I guess .fund has more possibilities, even though they're limited.
All right. Next up, Traffic, the Targeted Traffic Conference. The Traffic has opened up nominations for their annual awards. The categories include Developer of the Year, Domain Broker of the Year, Domainer of the Year, Best Domain Blog, Most Promising New GTLD, Best Marketing by a New GTLD, Sponsor of the Year, Best Overall Domain Solution, the Bandit Berkens Goodwill Ambassador Award, the Domain and the Domain Hall of Fame Award. Now, before I ask you gentlemen to handicap who you think should be nominated, because we're not in the voting yet. And I think it's more fair to talk about it before nominations happen, not after nominations have been announced. I would like to ask Rick, what does it mean to be the best overall, to be the sponsor of the year? What does that mean?
I think the sponsor of the year, I mean, look, we all have sponsors. It's the guys who pay us. It's where we make our money. So whether it's in parking or it's in different ways, whether it's a mini site, whoever your partners are, whoever's making you money. I mean, that's your sponsor. I mean, whoever you think's doing a great job may not even be your sponsor. Look,
I have sponsors on Domain Sherpa, so I can nominate them. But like, who what if it's regular people that are just investors and they're listening to this and are like, yeah, I'd like to make some nominations and be more part of the industry and help contribute to the annual awards that traffic. I don't have any sponsors.
Well, then don't vote in that category. I mean,
Okay.
if you go to the voting booth and you don't know who don't pull the lever there. Vote for the categories that maybe who they are. You read the blogs every day. Well, most of you have an opinion on which blogs that you like, which blogs that you don't like, and make a nomination.
Okay.
And you have an opinion just like anyone else. And I don't vote on every category. I wouldn't vote on every category because some categories I'm not interested in. A lot of people don't vote in every category. The ones that they're interested in and they know the most about, that's what they vote.
That makes sense. Now, how do you differentiate between Domainer of the Year and Domain Hall of Fame? That sounds like two very important people in the domain name industry, but is one just for the year and one sort of a lifetime achievement award?
Exactly. One is, who shook the bushes this year? Who made a difference? What name was popping up at you? And the other is, who's done something over the years and, been consistently contributing and things that should be recognized. And we're getting a large variety of people this year on that for sure.
Yep. All right. And my last question for you, just on definitions, is the Bandit Berkens Goodwill Ambassador Award. How do you describe the embodiment of this award? Like, what kind of person is going to win this award?
Well, probably a guy not like me.
That's okay. You don't have to be like you. You're giving the award away.
No, it's going to be someone who's kind of lovable and respected throughout the industry, that has credentials and has done a good job including other people. And, it's... Look, the people writing, you got to remember one thing about the nominations, we don't suggest to anybody. We don't put out a single name. The nominations come from the audience. So it's what they believe someone is a goodwill and contributing and deserves the award. So, I mean, it's...
All right, I understand. All right, Rick, I'm not going to ask you for your picks of nominations because you're running the award system. But let's start with Adam on the far left. Adam, if you had to pick two of these categories and suggest a nominee, who are you putting in for two of the categories?
I mean, Rick's right. A lot of the categories I don't know who I would pick because I'm not an expert in those. Paige, are you paying attention? Paige?
He's there.
I'm in. You're not an expert in those categories.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, you were facing sideways, so I don't know. Anyway,
I was getting my ice bucket ready.
One of the toughest ones for me is the best blog of the year, because I think, honestly, and this is not because we're here, both Berkens and you have incredible blogs, Mr. Cyger. So to pick a winner in that category for me out of those two is very tough. I think you both do different things. I think you both do fine jobs, and there should be a category for education, but that wouldn't be good because I'd beat you in that too. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
And to Michael Berkens and my credit, we have both won the best blog.
And
been
one of you is going to win it this year. Let's be obvious. One of you two is going to win it this year.
I better get some mugs in the mail.
What are the other categories? What do you got, Michael, for us? Refresh our memory.
Most promised. I'm not going to bring up new GTLDs for you. Developer of the year, domain broker of the year. What do you think? Domain
broker of the year. Developer of the year, I really haven't seen that much out of anybody that I can remember.
That's what I was thinking too.
Domain broker of the year, it's been pretty quiet the last 6-7 months. There's only been a couple of announced sales, so that one's also a tough one for me. What else you got?
Who would you put in Bandit Berkens Goodwill Ambassador Award?
I would nominate somebody who's done a lot behind the scenes, who was really helpful with Egal and his portfolio and a lot of other people. Somebody like Barry would be a good choice because she does a lot behind the scenes and she doesn't get the credit she deserves.
Yeah,
somebody like her. But there's certainly other people that deserve a lot of credit. I'd have to really go through the list and see.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Mike Berkens, who do you think embodies the Bandit Berkens Goodwill Ambassador Award this year?
Somebody that came to my mind is Ken Hansen, from was formerly with News Star, and He's just regarded to be, a lot. He's well liked by everybody. I think. I don't think there's anybody who doesn't like him. He's been doing some really good work on hearing. He has some hearing issues, and he's started some charitable work on getting hearing to those hearing help to those who can't afford it. I like Ken. I mean, I just think he's a good guy. He's a good ambassador. To me, also means that somebody who would represent the domain industry outside the domain industry, who would shine a positive light, on the whole industry. So to me, it's a little bit of a different, maybe, definition than Rick had, and so I think he falls within that too. You could take, Ken, and when he was working for New Star and working with an NYC and running all over the city. I just feel like he, spreads good word and good message and feelings about the domain industry as a whole. So he would be somebody I would consider for sure.
Mike, you are in the Domain Hall of Fame. There will be 2 people inducted this year, but they're looking for only nominations for one person. If you and Adam Dicker are both inducted into the Hall of Fame, I should point out.
That was good.
And Rick Schwartz, yeah. If you had to select one person to nominate on your own, hear my voice, on your own, nomination form, not anybody else's, who might come to mind for the Domain Hall of Fame?
I mean, I still like to think a little bit out of the side of the box. So, I'm gonna go with John Berryhill. I think he's, obviously not a domainer, but he's done an awful lot to help a lot of domainers, and I think domainers in general and protect their property and rights and domains, and he's, stands up for domainers at ICANN and in other spots where, he does a lot of stuff for the community. I wrote a post about him today, some work he was doing behind the scenes with WIPO, and he does a lot of that stuff on his own a lot. So nice. That's.
And I did do a very interesting interview with John in the past. If you haven't had a chance to watch that one, I think we discussed the defense of one of your domain names, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyways, past Sherpa, great guest. Paige, let's go over to you. If I had to ask you what the most promising new GTLD is, what would be your answer?
The most promising new GLT would be all the ones that haven't come out yet.
Oh, interesting.
So I'll say .net, .web, because if it hasn't come out, it may still work, and so that would make it the most promising.
All right, you're going with .web, and who, obviously we don't have access to see every bit of marketing collateral that all the new GTLDs are doing individually, but based on your own information gathering, who would you nominate for best marketing by a new GTLD?
Oh, .club by far.
.rich. Hey, you make an exclusive club, keep it exclusive, and over time, people will join. I wouldn't trust Donuts to come out with a $100 TLD and that you wouldn't be able to find it for $9.99 next year. But they've stuck to it. It's nice marketing. Hey, it's... ICANN said we want new and better and different implementations. And you know what? If after a while, if you see .rich, that makes people go, wow, the guy's a player. So I'm going to give it to .rich.
Page.rich. All right. If you want to nominate some of your favorites for these 10 categories, you can go to targetedtraffic.com to learn more. Actually, I'm not sure if it's on Targeted Traffic, but you can go to dnjournal.com or thedomains.com, and both have a post written about the nomination process, who to send your email to, and what the categories are, as well as past winners if you want to select somebody new.
Nominations at targetedtraffic.com.
And
go for Cyger and Berkens.
And they're due by Friday. Right, Rick?
Friday at 6 p.m. it closes. So
you send it at 6:01 p.m. Eastern, you're out of luck.
Right.
And escrow.com is doing the tallying this year, right?
They will be counting all the votes when the vote starts in September. We'll announce the dates for the voting in September.
All right. Next up, you may have noticed about 420,000 new GTLDs registered on Tuesday. As reported on Mike Berkens, thedomains.com, Many of his readers have written and commented about the volume of domains registered yesterday or a couple days ago, and that these registrations may screw up the new GTLD stats. Mike, I'm not even sure I understand what's going on with all these. Can you explain why so many domain names were registered on Tuesday?
It's just part of this process of getting these collision the names that are on the ICANN collision list freed up so they could be registered. The earliest point in time seems to be November, potentially for that, but there's a process they have to go through. The process is to get these sort of names registered into the zone file, but not in a way that it would reflect a real registration.
Okay, so
that's
ICANN said
kind of
these domain names cannot be registered, like, domain names that conflict with country codes and things like that. So they have this list, but now they're saying, these domain names in .xyz and .web and .whatever, now we're going to start freeing them up. So we're going to put them into the zone file, but they can't be registered yet? Is that correct?
Right, they can't. That's correct.
Okay.
Can't be registered yet. And every new GTLD has their own collision list, which was based on the study that ICANN paid this company to do. And some of the new GTLDs have thousands, a few thousands of domains, and some have 6 figures in domains. So that's one of the things I've talked about a few times when we're talking about how successful or not successful these GTLDs are. Mm-hmm. Is that there's literally millions and millions and millions of domains that are not available to be registered. Not because the registry is reserving them,
right,
or doesn't want to sell them, just because they're not permitted at this point in time. And a lot of them are the better names, frankly. So
yeah,
it's just part
of
the process.
Into the zone file, but if I'm an investor, there's nothing I can do yet. I still can't register it.
No.
And are they going to be held by the registry and sold to the highest bidder?
I think every registry will have certain names they'll pull back as reserved names. Mm-hmm. I mean, single letter domains. Maybe held back, or really good names, maybe back. How they're going to allocate them or disperse them or sell them, I think will be up to each registry, and we'll just have to keep an eye on it. We're a few months out yet.
Okay.
Or in the cases where they said that people that registered them or given them inadvertently will be given them, then I'm going to try to hold donuts to that. So.
Yeah, you should try to.
Yeah.
But I think, Mike, you can think of the process as kind of a Y2K. The outside consultant was paid to figure out which ones might be, so they get paid more, I think, the more names they come up with. So now maybe it's a case where let's put them in the zone and see if all these conflicts are occurring. Are things breaking? Because of some code that has something out there, is all of a sudden stuff breaking? Let's see if it's breaking, I guess. Is my guess at what they're trying to do is put it into action and see if that name was really given to somebody, would all these things be breaking? And I guess we'll find out if they're not, or if they are.
We'll find out. Next up, I love it when I see new innovation in the domain name industry. It can be from anywhere. It could be like a new website like NTLD Stats or some of the other websites that we've talked about in the past that help us understand what's going on in the marketplace, because it shows that people are actually investing in the future. Adam Dicker just noticed today and sent me a Skype message before the show that uniregistry.com recently added a new feature. Adam, what's the feature and why did you like it so much?
So the feature is called Domain Tracker. It's in beta, but it is available in everyone's account. If you go to Transfer and then on the left side, you'll see Domain Tracker. What it is you can add names that are at every other registrar that you have, and you can also pre-put in the auth codes, so that you can decide to transfer them at any point before they expire over to Uniregistry. So, for example, I've got 1,120 names expiring within 30 days, 1,608 expiring in 60 days, and 2,460 expiring within 120 days. So this allows me, and it also lists the registrars. So I have 17 at Names Pro, 24. It gives them all, so you know where they are, and you can click them, and it'll show you what you have at Enom, for example, that's expiring. And you can go by that and you can transfer them in a lot easier. But it also gives you the ability to keep track of your portfolio so that you can migrate them into one registrar. Because we all know the worst thing in the world is having them all over the place, forgetting about them, and then getting a surprise renewal notice on something you didn't know you owned.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have it listed properly. So this is a really cool feature. To me, it shows initiative to better equip its customers for transfers in, so nothing does get lost.
Yeah,
And
I
you
know
don't
that
have
on a
to put
previous
in-
show you've talked about separate software that you use to track all of your domain names. So basically, Uniregistry is saying, here, we'll give you the software, and it encourages you to bring your domain names over to us, so be it. But you can use it for whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, it does encourage you to bring it over. I
Yeah.
mean, it's got a lot of value. I mean, I really think it does. And for me
Cool.
to see exactly what's going on in a snapshot, it's better than getting those renewal notices from each registrar separately, and you know ahead of time what's going on.
Awesome. If you haven't signed up for a free uniregistry.com account, you can go do so at uniregistry.com. I have done so. I am amazed at the simplicity of the system. Frank has been on here in the past when we had a vacancy on the panel and talked about how they're bringing the internet traffic domain parking system over to domain name sales. And I'm not a fan of the simplicity of internet traffic, the parking system right now. But if they can keep it as simple as domainnamesales.com is, I will be amazed and probably bring over all of my domain names. But this does seem like a great tool.
It's just a good example of something being built by somebody who understands the industry, rather than, and I'll use the term anyway, rather than by a bunch of suits that don't know what the hell's going on in this industry.
Yeah. All right. Next up, the National Association of Realtors. Yeah, and anybody in the United States knows this association. They're the only ones that can call themselves realtors with a registered trademark behind them. And they will send you cease and desist or UDRP notices if you use realtors in any domain names. They just put out a press release saying the new .realtor top-level domain will be available October 23rd, 2014 to members of the NAR, National Association of Realtors, and the Canadian Real Estate Association. Go Canadians. They're billing it as, quote, the only domain that means the trusted source in real estate. And they're giving away first-year renewal or first-year registration to the first 500,000 NAR registrants and 10,000 Canadian real estate realtor members. Seems like a pretty good marketing promotion to get people to take up. You know, they're going to give away 510,000 domain names right off the bat.
Do they have to go through the real estate associations, or can any narc go ahead and register them?
I don't know. That's a good question. The only thing I could find is that for second-year plus renewals, it's going to be $39.95. But I'm not sure where you have to register them.
Well, if they're going to make you insert your real estate license or something to validate it, then it has credibility. But if just anybody can register them, then it's ridiculous.
I think they're probably going to they're pretty tight about their trademarks, so I think they're probably going to require some sort of proof that you have a real estate license. Will it create a trusted source in real estate online? What do you guys think?
Well, you don't have to be a realtor to get a real estate license.
You do not. But you have to have a real estate license and then be a member of the National Association of Realtors in order to say you're a realtor.
You have to pay them dues.
Right.
So they've always tried to have the best of both worlds. We want to be pervasive, and we want to control it all. You know what I mean? And that's hard, because the internet has been open and pervasive, and it has not responded well to people saying we want to control it. So I think if they can do it, great, but we've seen a lot of innovation come in to I think there's probably more people maybe thinking about giving up their NAR membership. You know, and this is a way to say, listen, to get this, to get this, to get this, to get this. But that's what's funny to me, is they want to be pervasive, but only if it's pervasive under their banner. And I don't know if that's always worked.
Yeah. Rick, what do you think? Smart move by the NAR?
I think it's a great marketing strategy. I mean, you know, it's completely different than .xyz, because these are people that are completely targeted that can use it. And if they hook them for the first year, chances are they get them to hook them for many years. So, but it depends how they control it, and to make them put their license number in the application when they register a domain name. I mean, because without that, then it's all bogus anyhow.
Yeah.
And
since they're the registry, they could say that if you lose your registry or you lose your license, they could pull the domain name back if they're really trying to promote the legitimacy of it.
If you stop paying dues.
Yeah.
Right. Well, at least it's a cohesive idea of somebody, which is kind of refreshing compared to everyone else, which is just buy my crap, buy my crap. So they seem to have they seem to have a direction and at least a vision of what they're trying to do.
It seems pretty smart to me, and it has the potential to bring in, $10, $20 million of additional revenue, or be a value-added benefit to maintain their membership. I think they could win a lot of different ways.
So while we're talking about it, I did some quick research, and it looks like it's going to be available at registrars as well, which may hurt the credibility. I just went to one Canadian one that says reserve your .realtor now and I can pay for it. So I'm not sure it's going to be. They may need a lot of staff to manage people checking licenses and that. Maybe. So I think maybe it's not going to be monitored.
Right. So if it becomes a domain play, their marketing is out the window. Okay. So if it's just a bunch of domainers scooping up all of them, then it defeated their entire purpose, and they may as well just sit down on the sidelines and just sit down and shut up and just let.
I'll have to check it out because I'll have to check it out because if I tried to register SeattleRealtor.com, I know I'd get a cease and desist letter pretty quickly. They tend to monitor those.
But not only that, Michael, even if you're a member of the National Association of Board of Realtors, they haven't allowed their members to do anything but get page how.realtor. They haven't even allowed their members to get generic. So again, they want to control they want to really get inside there and get into your business and say, you can do a bunch of stuff, but we're going to tell you specifically, what you can do and not do. So,
Well, I've got it in my cart at the moment.
What are you checking out, Adam? What are you going to buy?
It's AdamDicker.realtor, just as a test. I'm not actually going to buy it, but.
Well, you can't buy it until October, I don't think. Is that a pre-registration?
No, I can pre-reserve it, though. Yeah. But I'm not going to, even though I have my real estate license.
Mike, what were you going to say? You have your real estate license, Adam?
I did. I got into it. I wasn't in it long. I decided I had to kiss people's asses for listings and decided to forget it.
Mike, were you going to say something about that realtor?
At overpriced prices.
I mean, I think I'm sure there'll be people that will obviously take it for free, but at the end of the day, they still going to have some adoption, and there's going to be a lot of, other new GLDs that are going to be competitive. Like there's going to be a .MLS, there's going to be a .real estate, there's already a .condos, so a lot of, I don't know. I think it's still going to come down to, how many of these realtors are going to use them for their websites versus some of the other extensions.
Exactly. And that is going to be one of the discussion points I want to make next week about use of the websites. .xyz is claiming that they have one of the highest use of real websites on their top-level domain. We'll chat about that next week. It's good to see Rick Schwartz's doppelganger join us. I see 2 Rick Schwartzes on screen.
God help us all.
All right, we're at the hour point. The last point I wanted to make, while I also enjoy seeing innovation in technology, I like to see innovation in different marketplaces. I like to see local meetups of domain name investors getting together and sharing information. I'm always happy to see worlddomainday.com holding their first annual conference in Hyderabad, India on August 24th. I chatted with Prakhar Bindal, I believe is how it pronounced. My apologies if it's not. One of the organizers of the conference today via Skype, and it appears they're doing a tremendous amount of marketing in India, getting a lot of coverage for the event. As part of the conference, I believe, Adam Dicker, you're going to be attending and speaking at, right?
Not attending, just speaking through Skype.
Oh, awesome. They will also be holding a domain name auction on the Snap Names platform between August 23rd and 27th. The domain list and the reserve prices are listed at worlddomainday.com/auction. Includes some interesting ones like whois.com, thriller.com, which we have seen on past reviews, I think, applications.com, internetjobs.com, trafficreport.com. Some great 3-letter.coms, some great IN domain names, and some new GTLDs. So you can head over to worlddomainday.com/auction to learn more. And if you're attending the conference live, post a comment on this show and let us know what you thought about it. Or you can shoot me an email at michael@DomainSherpa.com. I'm interested to hear what the, I know what the feeling, what the energy is like in the United States, but I haven't been to India, and I haven't, I'd like to know what the energy level at the conference is. Anybody going to India for it?
You said Snap Names, Michael?
Say it again.
The auction? You said it's going to be on Snap Names, the auction?
Snap Names. It will run August 23rd through the 27th, it looks like.
I'm just wondering why they don't have it on Snap Names. Doesn't have it on their front page under event.
It's kind of weird.
Nope.
Maybe because they haven't started. I'm not sure. worlddomainday.com/auction. You can learn more. They should have, when this comes out on Thursday, they should have the reserve prices on there. Adam, what were you going to say?
I'm going to do my best Worldwide Wrestling Federation pump up to get them going. It's getting the domain names. It's Adam, Domain Man Savage. Let's go. Get going and go out there and buy your names and sell them. Let's go. Do what Rick says and Mike says and Paige says, and let's go.
All right. Nobody's going to the conference, it sounds like.
It's a long trip. Otherwise, I would go. And I'm worried about the food I'd eat and bottled water. So I love it, but it's too far.
Anything you guys want to promote? Let's start with Paige Howe.
Nope. Things are going good. Doing well. Thanks to all your viewers for watching and commenting, and keep it up.
Awesome. We lost your picture page, but we know how handsome you are. Mike Berkens, let's go over to you. Anything you want to promote?
I have nothing to promote.
Nothing. I saw a sale on Most Wanted Domains posted on Facebook recently.
I sold coolcompany.com for $25,000.
Cool Company singular, right?
Cool Company singular, correct?
Yeah. Interesting. $20,000. What was your opening
25.
offer for Cool
25.
Company? What?
No, it's all for 25.
Oh, 25. What was the opening offer?
Opening offers you always the $2,500 minimum that we have.
I lost you, Mike.
You really think I'm the one causing the vibration issues?
We lost your feed there, Mike. So when they approached you and said, how much is this domain name, what did you say initially? Mike? Now I can't hear him at all. Paige, can you hear him?
So he said the opening offer was $2,500.
$2,500. Okay, but I want to know what Mike countered with. All right, maybe he'll come back. Adam Dicker, let's go to you. Anything you want to promote?
Only thing I want to do is last week we launched the Domain DNF College Term 3. Amazing turnaround and support. There's over 600 people in the first 3 days or a week. You can still get in, facebook.com/groups/domain college. Get in there, and it'll be really worth your while. I've got rookies, newbies, rookies, intermediates, experts, all saying that they've learned quite a bit and they're looking forward to learning more. We're sharing contacts, we're sharing information, we're sharing everything, and most importantly, we're sharing knowledge.
Awesome. Sounds great. Rick Schwartz, anything you want to promote?
No, just tomorrow, 6 p.m., nominations at targetedtraffic.com for all the various categories. And like you say, they're on thedomains.com, on DN Journal, on Elliot's blog, all kinds of places you can see the form, and just send it out by tomorrow at 6. It's completely open to everyone, so if you don't get nominated, don't blame me. I'm just,
I will hold you responsible. All right, don't post any questions you have that you'd like answered in next week's show in the comments below. Adam Dicker, the departed Michael Berkens, Paige Howe, and the duplicate Rick Schwartz. Thanks for coming on the DomainSherpa Discussion, sharing your insights and expertise. Thanks for continuing to be Domain Sherpas for others. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. Glug, 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 glug.